Smallpox is an ancient scourge known since antiquity. It is caused by a highly contagious airborne pox virus. This strictly human disease exists in two forms: variola major, with mortality of 20 to 45%, and an attenuated form called variola minor or aletrium, with mortality of 1 to 2%, which only recently appeared in Europe and the Americas towards the end of the 19th century. The first smallpox pandemic was the Antonine Plague, which swept through the Roman Empire in the 2nd century AD, after which smallpox became endemic in the world, causing seasonal and regional epidemics in Europe, affecting mostly young children until the 19th century. The discovery of the New World in 1492 and the opening of the African slave trade favored in 1518 the contamination by smallpox of Native Amerindians populations who were massively decimated during the following centuries. In the absence of any effective treatment, preventative methods were developed from the 18th century. First, virilation was used, a dangerous procedure that consists in inoculating intradermally a small quantity of the virus from convalescent patients. In the early 19th century, Edward Jenner popularized the practice of inoculating cowpox, a mild cow disease. The first evidence, but not the most important for me, is the World Health Organization, which says the ancient practice of variolation, named for smallpox, also known as variola or la variola, was widely used in Asia and some parts of Africa. This consisted of transferring to healthy people small amounts of material from smallpox sores, resulting in milder forms of illness and much lower mortality than natural infection. Some sources suggest the practice of variolation were taking place as early as 200 BC. Some written accounts show that it was happening in the 1500s in China. And in India, similar practices were carried out through inoculation. Copying these innovative ideas into Europe was a woman who saw it being done in Turkey. So in Europe, it was introduced by Lady Mary Wortley Montagu 300 years ago in 1721, after she had observed the practice in the Ottoman Empire, where her husband was stationed as ambassador to Turkey. Around the same time, it came to public attention in the American colonies. Enslaved West Africans had long practiced the technique, and after his slave Onesimus told him about how it worked in 1716, Cotton Mather publicized it and argued for its use in response to a 1721 outbreak of smallpox in Massachusetts. It wasn't until May 1796 that the world first vaccine was demonstrated using the same principles as variolation, but with a less dangerous viral source, cowpox. Okay, so we have a guy who went to the Asantini people, the Asantini Empire, and he saw this process for himself and wrote about it in the late 1700s. Even though we have these slaves who were documented by Americans saying that they, think about it, the slave masters were getting smallpox and these slaves knew how to inoculate themselves. So let's read from his diary. Inoculation for the smallpox is practiced in the Moorish countries. They take the matter and puncture the patient in 7 places, both on the arms and legs. The sickness continues but a few days, and rarely any person dies of it. It is also done in Ashantini. Seven is their mystical number. So there you have it, an early account that depicts smallpox being used as inoculation. This is not the only account, and of course, there's the in the Americas of the slaves, but like I said, this one is not even denied by mainstream historians, showing that Africa was really up to some up to date stuff back in the day.